so for our second spiral line stretch series here, we're going to start with somewhat of a modified adductor rock position. So again, this is one where we have band traction as a component to this too, so band around the inside leg. For this one, Kai's going to initiate through that breath with a reach towards that band access point, so it's kind of dropping the shoulder scapula, and then big reach, exhale, coming up and away from the body. She'll hold here for her 2 breaths. And then work into that reset. Perfect. So for here, a couple of the key points on that outside leg. She's staying long through the leg, driving the foot down through the turf, keeping the knees stacked, so not letting that outside leg trail behind or get too far out in front of her. And then again, thinking about our contact points here, you know, creating pressure through the hand, getting long through the arms, and then again, coordinating the body with the movement. With all of these stretches, you know, I might argue that with the spiral line, it's probably even more important than the others. Be very intuitive with your body. Let yourself feel what you feel and kind of follow what you feel like you need more or less of. Number 2 for this series here, we're going to do a single arm kettlebell knee drop or iron cross, as some people call it. For this one, I do generally like having something between the knees here, so a yoga block or, you know, kind of one of those soft foam balls, just so that we can create some compression for the lower half here. And keeping tensegrity through the pelvis so that we can emphasize the stretch through the line. So for this, Kai is going to initiate by stacking the shoulder with the kettlebell arm, rotating that thumb back a little bit, and then she'll inhale, and then we're going to drop knees away from the kettlebell. And if you pay attention to the arm action, it's not very deliberate, but as her legs or knees are dropping, she's just kind of letting that kettlebell drift away from her a little bit. Because again, we want to kind of think about opposing length above and below where we're trying to isolate the stretch. So for here, people who have low back pain, any history of back surgeries, this one should be started out very easy, very gentle. You're not going to get as far as Kai is demonstrating here, but for everyone else, injuries notwithstanding, you want your knees to go as far as you can without feeling like you're compromising the stretch. Good, right? Number 3, this is another one that you'll recognize if you did that fascial line assessment course, but we're going to use the PVC pipe here and then work a combo lunge pattern. So we're going to go into a curtsy lunge and then across into a lateral lunge here. So again, with the spiral line being so wide reaching, I think shotgun approach, lots of different patterns, lots of different combinations. Let people feel what they feel as they do it. So as Kai goes into that curtsy step, she's going to take her first breath there. Exhale across into the lateral, and then we will rebreathe here one time on this one. So kind of a slightly different breathing pattern is what we've been demonstrating on all these other ones. We're going to kind of split the breaths up. We'll do one for the curtsy lunge and then punch across into that lateral and then get another breath at end range over here. So for our points on this, on the curtsy lunge, I like to think about it like a clock. We're kind of stepping behind, and if Kai's going this way, we're thinking 7 o'clock with that 7 or 5 o'clock angle there. Scapular reach, arm fold in the front, getting long to that pinky, and then in the lateral lunge, keeping the feet stacked, dropping deep into that flexion position, and then long arms overhead here. Good. All right, and our last one for this spiral line series here, we're going to see another modified 90-90 position here. You know, again, reciprocating pelvic action, internal, external rotation, external on the front leg here, internal on the back leg. And then using a cross-body reach with some band tension here. So Kai's going to initiate this through the breath, hand's going to be at the midline, and then she's just going to be passive here, kind of let that band help facilitate her stretch. Once she reaches that end range part, a couple of breaths. And then return back to that starting position. So we notice here too, that she's got her inside arm down. That is deliberate on this. Remember, we're not trying to think about this as like core activation or strengthening. We want to utilize what we can to help facilitate a stretch, so creating an extra stability point here. And then as most of you I'm sure know or are familiar with, you know, like FRC concepts and things like that, the pelvic positioning here can be very deliberate as well. So we do have Kai driving that front knee and back knee down in this case, and then as she gets into that end range, kind of tilt the pelvis up and back a little bit. Let that scap bend and reach around there. But this is one where there's a lot of different touch points that, you know, again, depending on who it is, what their history is, they'll feel different things here. But a lot of different ways that we can modify or regress this if needed. We shouldn't feel any capsular pain. We shouldn't feel any knee ligament pain. This should be mostly felt through that arm line, through the scapula, lat, oblique, and then, you know, different aspects of the pelvis, depending on who you are, what you have going on here.